Well, cool. Well, it's great to meet you. Before we get into your life as a writer, I would like to begin our conversation with, 4 years ago, this pandemic began and we were getting our brains wrapped around it. How did you survive the pandemic and how did it change you?
So, to be honest, the reason I survived the pandemic, and I feel like a huge part of it, was because I had my book, which was a very healing thing for me. Was working on my book like almost every single day, and it really took a lot of time. So I was very concerned about that. So I was really thankful that I actually had that because that really, shaped my whole experience with COVID. And what was the second part of that question?
Just how you got through it and how it changed you.
Oh, well, honestly, the book has changed me for the better. I truly think that it helped me heal in a way of being open about my emotions more, being honest, being vulnerable. It's really kind of opened my eyes to like a new way of living and a way of like always understanding that like life is a special gift. And to really acknowledge that and to know that now is like a huge blessing. And to even be alive is a blessing because of what happened. So, yeah.
So, in the aftermath of going through this pandemic, mental health has been on the forefront. You're a huge advocate for mental
Mhm.
health and for suicide prevention. Talk to me about how that accelerated since coming out of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I have struggled so much with mental health in my own life, and I'm very proud to say I'm in a very good place now. And so for me, I just want to be able to be an advocate for the voiceless where I used to be. It's almost in a way of like giving back to where I was. Because I feel so thankful and blessed that I had a second chance at life to be able to just turn my life around, and not everyone has that opportunity, nor does anyone. Sometimes people don't have a person who can personally save them. In my case, I did. And so for me, that whole thing is just like it's all about the fact of like at the end of the day, life is about your relationships with people. It is not about materialistic things. It is not about social media. It is not about anything other than the fact of your connection with people. And I learned that so much through COVID because I was in a car accident right before, and it made me have a whole new appreciation for my family than I ever thought I would ever have in a million years.
So, if I put you in front of a bunch of third graders right now, it's career day, and one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Yeah, so I would say I work, well, I mean, if it's a third grader, I'd be like, I work with kids and I talk to them about having a really good life and how they can do that and how they can get through their struggles and how they can understand that no matter what they're going through, they're always going to get through it. And, resilience is a big part of life. And so when you overcome obstacles, it is just like you feel so good. And it's just something that kids need to learn at a young age.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
Honestly, I remember in kindergarten, I wanted to be a veterinarian. By third grade, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't actually remember. That's a real
Okay, you're fine. Veterinarian is right up there on the top of the list of everybody. So, yeah,
right.
that's I get that. So, take me back to your childhood. You said you're from Pittsburgh. Take me back, and how did
Yes.
these seeds of becoming a writer and now a mental health advocate, how did all of these things brew and become you?
Yeah, so it all kind of started in third grade when I got a death threat. And so my perception of myself and how I kind of viewed life was kind of like, I'm not good enough. Why are these girls bullying me? What did I do to them? As I got older, my perception of myself just was like not confident. I was just not happy with myself. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really fit in. And what's actually funny is when I was a kid, my mom used to take me into Barnes and Noble for like the story times. And then she'd be like, "You need to read this summer." And I'd be like, "I hate reading." And now like I love it. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But I was, yeah, so after like going into middle school and stuff like that, I was having a tough time again with bullying and people just not fitting in and just feeling just not worthy. And then I got to high school and that was hell on earth. But my sophomore year of high school, I found out that I had a learning disability, which is called nonverbal. And that explained so much because I was working really, really hard in school and the results just never were adding up. And so I just always constantly worked harder than everybody else. And I also just felt like I never fit in. Like I never really had people to sit with during some of my lunches. Like I really do. I'm also a big advocate too for schools of like helping with lunch because I was that kid that went to the bathroom crying and wanting to die. And then after that, I went to boarding school and all that stuff. And then college came, and I thought college was going to be the best 4 years of my life. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And unfortunately, my freshman year of college, I was, at a different school and I transferred back. But before I transferred back, my best friend in the entire world just happened to call me at the right moment to save my life. And I'll never be able to repay her for that because it's truly a blessing. And I think I do really have a purpose. And so now with like all of that, I'm just trying to like help other people understand like they can get through it because then at the end of college, I got into a really bad car accident and I was lucky to be alive. I grabbed my seatbelt seconds before the accident. We were literally, the car was totaled. It was a hit and run. They never found the person. But I truly believe after that moment, I realized I need to speak up for the people who can't because I'm so blessed to be alive. I'm a Christian, and I thought for me, I was like, this is God giving me my second chance at living life. And this I will not take lightly. I'm going to do everything I can to help other people because the whole perspective just changed. Grab my seatbelt and then bam, we crashed. So
Wow.
that's kind of where it all started.
So talk to me about who a hero has been for you. Who's been an inspiration in your life?
I can honestly say my whole family.
Yeah.
My mom, she's so just funny and selfless and caring and is has the most beautiful heart. And I think she really did a good job, and my dad, of teaching me when I was a kid, like, this is how you treat people, whether or not they treat you badly, you be the bigger person. And my parents have always instilled that in me and the fact of like, you can get through anything, you can do this. They've always been my biggest fan. And even my sister Jordan, like, she literally does not realize how much of an impact she's made in my life. Like without her, I don't think I would be who I am today because she really has helped me kind of see the fact of like, what life do you want? Do you want to be happy? If you want to be happy, this is, some steps you need to do. And the tough love, you need that. You need people in your life who really care about you. So I honestly would say my whole family, I can't just pick one.
Yeah.
Because they all, and my dad, oh my gosh, like he's worked so hard in his life and he lost his dad when he was a kid. And he always said that he was going to try to give his kids a life that he never had. And he's just the most selfless person. He's just such a caring person. I always say to him too, I'm like, Dad, how when I was a kid did you not miss my ice skating? You didn't miss my recitals. You didn't miss any of that. Like you were there for everything. And that was just like a beautiful memory to have because it's just like I know that my family has my back 100% and me the same with them.
That's so cool. So let me ask you this. Of all the people alive on the planet right now, who, if you could meet one fascinating, interesting person and spend some time with them, who would that be?
So honestly, I'm going to say Selena Gomez because I truly am inspired by her. She actually is a reason why I started to be more open about mental health and suicide prevention. I just remember when she started being vulnerable about it and when people found out that she was, going through a hard time and going through mental health crises, I realized I wasn't alone. And when I realized I wasn't alone, it really kind of also helped me open up. And I think it's just beautiful what she's doing with her platform. She's using it for good. I always said if I ever had a platform, I'd want to be able to use it for advocacy or to be able to do something good, something that would make a change, something that would make a difference. And she just is a huge inspiration to me. And I just like, I really respect what she does. I just think that she is so open and honest with her fans. And I just think that she's helped so many more people than she probably realizes just by being open. And you can really tell she has a beautiful heart. And also too, like her makeup is amazing, rare beauty. Like I'm wearing the blush right now. Like it's she's just like someone I've always really, really admired.
So what is it that motivates you every day to get out of bed, to write, to be an advocate, to do all of these things, and to also evolve as a human yourself?
Yeah, I really think it comes down to, purpose. It's the fact of like, I'm like, I need to make a change today. Every day, let's make a change. Let's do something. Let's help someone. Even if it's one person, just help one person. And that to me really gets me going because knowing that I can make a difference and help someone and save like lives potentially, like that to me is just like so fulfilling because I know what it's like. I used to be there. I used to be in that really downward spiral and to be able to have my life now. I feel very blessed. I feel very honored to have the friends I do, my family and everything. And even my cat Lily, like, and all of our animals, like, they're so healing too. And it's just like being able to have all that support and love, it makes you want to be motivated.
So you had a moment where someone gave a friend called you and saved your life. What's a
Mhm.
moment that you've had with a client where one of your favorite success stories with a client?
Um, so it's crazy what social media does. And basically, long story short, there was a girl who I didn't know that well, but I sent out books because when I first, published it, I sent my books out to just like people and be like, here, like read it or not, whatever. Gave her my information, whatever. She started texting me and telling me about kind of, she was like, thank you for the book. I literally was just impatient and no one really knows that. Like, thank you. Then we continued the conversation and then she was like, I don't want to bother you. And right there, I was like, no, 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 you're not bothering me. Like, I'm here for you. So progressively throughout the next 6, 8 months, I would say, I mean, it's insane. I mean, I was always, I always was trying to be able to text her and stuff like that. But there was one night where she almost did what I did, and I saved her. And
Wow.
mine was through FaceTime. And it was the most full circle moment of my life. And I just like that whole thing, like, and her being alive and happy now is just like I feel lucky that I was able to help her get to a good place because honestly, like it was the hardest thing because also too, like I didn't really know her well, but when you call a wellness check on someone and all that stuff, like you care,
Hmm.
and showing people that you care is sometimes all they need. And she's just a beautiful soul inside and out, and I'm so thankful and lucky that I get to know her because now I love hearing about just like what she's doing and her dog and stuff like that. And it really just goes to show you that, like, even if you're at rock bottom, you can get out of it.
Yeah.
It just, as I said to her, it requires work. You're going to have to go to therapy. You're going to have to stop lying to your therapist. You're going to have to be vulnerable and tell the truth. You have to want to get better.
Yeah.
And that is the where it all comes down to.
So you have to dispense good advice to your clients. What's the best advice that you've ever gotten?
Gosh, I've gotten a lot of good advice in my life, especially from my family. But I think one of the biggest ones, honestly, is just my dad always saying, you don't know how good you are. Because I always doubted myself and I always thought I wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
And that always stuck with me because my dad and I always said, we just got to get me through high school, college, and life will be good for me. And he was so right. Like, I was not good in school, but life is so different. And when you're in your 20s and it's a different field. It's a different feeling. But my dad would always say that, and it's just like it's so true. It's like people don't know how good you are. Like, to everyone else, you don't know how good you are
Right.
because we always underestimate ourselves and we're our biggest critics. But like, we actually have more gifts than we think. We just have to find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. Of all of the things that you've done and overcome and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
I'm the proudest. That's wow. Okay. I think I would say I'm the proudest of the fact that I am in such a good place. I always dreamed of being happy. I was like, what is it like being happy? What does that like fulfillment look like? Not from a guy, not from like friends, not from like doing things, but like what does being happy look like for me?
Yeah.
And to be able to say I'm at that place is like the best thing ever. And I mean, yes, the book, of course, but like just being happy and having happiness and fulfilling life, it's just like it's amazing. And I'm living proof that you can get from rock bottom to a place where you feel good about yourself and you feel good about your family and your friends and the people in your life. Not doubt it.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, all of your readers of your book, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I like to think of myself as a chosen one in a way. I again, I'm Christian, but I I think a lot of the struggles and the battles and the mean bullies and the bad experiences of middle, high school, college, and like not having that be my prime and all that stuff. I think that was I was chosen in a way because I think in a way I'm like meant to show other people that you can get through it and you can make a change and you can make a difference yourself. You know, all it takes is using your voice. And I want people to know that everyone's voice matters. It doesn't matter who you are, your voice means everything. And to be able to have that voice, honestly, is a blessing because life itself is a blessing. And, you know, being able to be grateful for my life every day is just like, it's amazing. I mean, sure, I have my bad days here and there, but when I have those bad days, I just call my family. I'm like, I'm not really having a good day today. I want to talk about it. I
Yeah.
don't just hold things in anymore.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to pick up your book, speaking of voices, where can they get it? Hire you, any of the good business?
Yes, actually, so my website just launched. I'm very proud of it.
Excellent.
It's carolynsophia.com. And I have my book on there. I also have bookings that can, or a booking link. So if you want to book me for a public speaking event or something, all you have to do, go to the list, go to the inquiries, fill that out. I'll get back to you and we'll set up a date. And I love it. I don't even consider it work. I consider it just like, I just love it.
Yeah.
Like, I just love it. Yeah, but really, I do consider myself to be um, a person who just wants to make a difference and a person who I feel like is called to make a difference.
It takes a lot of courage. I love this story. It's such a redemptive
Thank
story
you.
of evolution. You're not stopping, you're continuing, and it's hard work sometimes to find that happiness, you know?
Oh,
And
for sure. For
and
sure.
and that's where you're at. So keep doing the good work. Thank you so much for your story and
Thank
time
you.
today. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you. Have a great day.